Hi guys, remember when Kemi Badenoch said she didn't want to talk about any policies because the election was too far away? Well, that position lasted about as long as Liz Truss as Prime Minister. So finally, the new and improved Conservative Party have their very first policy. And if you thought it'd be something that would be important to the vast majority of people, like the cost of living or the NHS, then I regret to be the bearer of bad news. It's immigration. So our old friend Chris Philp was wheeled out to the media to sell the new plan. And it sounded like it was either written by an 8-year-old or a Reform UK leaning focus group. I couldn't make head nor tail of it. Can you?
Let's talk about these new ideas, this sort of policy that's emerging yesterday from your leader on migration. What's the headline of it? Because there's quite a lot of little details within it. What's the main message you want to put across?
Yeah, it's quite a complicated policy area, but the simple message is that if people come to this country saying they're going to work, then we expect them to do that. If they don't work, if they say they need to have benefits instead, then we would revoke their visa and require them to leave.
Wait a minute. Okay. As far as I know, if you're arriving in the UK with a visa, then you're not allowed to claim benefits. So how could somebody arrive on a visa and claim benefits? What the hell is he talking about here? Now, when somebody's visa expires, then they're expected to leave the country. So they can't go on benefits. Okay, but let's continue.
If at the end of their visa they either haven't worked or haven't worked at a salary level that means they're making a net contribution, then they would not get indefinite leave to remain. That's the right.
Okay, so how do you determine whether somebody has had a net contribution or not? Because are you going to go through each individual's income and compare that to each individual's requirement, I don't know, when it comes to public services? But once again, you know, asylum seekers, refugees, and people with visas are not allowed to access benefits, for example. So what are you talking about here? What does he actually mean that they're not a net contributor? So a net contributor, I assume, is somebody who has paid into a system and then taken out, and what they've taken out is less than what they've paid in. But generally, because these people can't claim benefits and can't access certain public services, then obviously whatever they pay in is going to be greater than what they take out, because they're extremely limited in what they can take out of the system. This sounds just like rhetoric to pander to, once again, Reform UK-leaning voters.
Right to stay here permanently and instead would be required to leave. It's about making sure the people who come here to work actually do work and actually do earn money, earn salaries.
Okay, but you already have that in place. If people arrive on a visa and they don't respect that visa, then they will be deported. They will lose the access to that visa. Now, he's also saying here that people who don't work, well, if there are no jobs available, then how are they going to get the visa in the first place? Like, if you arrive on a job visa, obviously there's a job lined up linked to that visa. Unless you're talking about other types of visas, for example, student visas, but then you're not allowed to work in many cases with a student visa. None of this makes any sense to me.
At a level where they're making a contribution, because people on very low salaries actually end up costing more in public services than they contribute. And I don't think it's fair on the British taxpayer to ask them to essentially subsidise people who have only just arrived in the country. So it's a new policy, it's quite tough, but it's designed to make sure the taxpayer doesn't end up subsidising recent arrivals.
Is it fair to...
But there's no evidence to back up that claim. He says that people on low incomes or foreigners on visas are a bigger burden on the state. But there's no evidence to back up that claim. Once again, many of these people can't claim benefits. They can't access certain public services. For example, when it comes to the NHS, many people have to pay a fee to access the NHS, unlike citizens. So what the heck is Chris Philp talking about here? I don't understand. Can you help me out? Because I don't understand. I don't understand what this policy is supposed to be about. I can understand what it's trying to achieve. It's trying to pander to the far right within the Conservative Party, the far right in society, Reform UK voters, trying to win these people back. But I keep saying, Immigration is something that the Conservatives should not be talking about, because you can't out-Farage. You can't out-racist the racists. What do you hope to achieve by pandering to people that Nigel Farage can easily say, well, I would do it much better? Look at the Conservatives when they were in power. Immigration went up. Look at Labour. Immigration is going up. Or they're not doing it as well as I would do it. So Farage has this policy or this area sewn up. It's his safe zone, his safe place. He can say whatever the hell he wants about immigration, and the two mainstream parties can do nothing about that. The Conservatives would be better served talking about something else. But I don't know what that other thing is, because they can't talk about the NHS, because they run it into the ground. They can't talk about the economy, Liz Truss. They can't talk about pretty much anything. But immigration is probably the worst thing they should be talking about, because it serves no purpose apart from helping Nigel Farage. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.